Hey, good morning. Let's get myself situated here. All right. Well, March 19th. Here we go. This is my third day of not being currently employed. I'm still employed, but there is no work to be had at my current place of work. So I'm just kind of keeping some kind of a structure and routine to my life while all of this goes down. So, first of all, I wanted to make a bit of a commentary about the live stream that Ancestors of God did last night. It went really well with respect to how we played and how it sounded. I went, I came back here to my setup here where I have a, a decent little pair of 3-inch studio monitors, so I can get a decent sound better than what I would get from just random, computer speakers or headphones. And I was very surprised specifically with how the lower frequencies came through. It sounded good. There was minimal, if any, distortion in the sound, and it was a good representation of our music, and it was fun to do that. I was tired, which is ironic because I really didn't do much all day. And then one of the funnier or kind of frustrating things that happened was we streamed on two platforms, on Instagram and on Facebook. And the way we had the phones mounted was to a microphone stand using gaffer's tape, because we didn't really have the supplies to rig something better together. I had a couple ideas, certain specially designed cell phone or tablet mounts that can be mounted to a microphone stand, but unfortunately I don't have access to those right now because the store is closed. But anyway, so because of the way we had the phone mounted, we didn't have the ability to adjust it, especially on the fly, because it was time for us to get started. So the result of that is on the Facebook feed, the image is both reversed and it's sideways. So we just said, heck, what are we going to do about that? So we just sort of went with it. I think it's kind of cool, I mean, the object of that is the music anyway. The visual part of it is important. No intention of downplaying that, but we got the music out there in a live setting for people to see. Also, I wanted to express our appreciation as a band for the support and for the attention drawn to it by KASW 99.9 The Rock. We had BJ and Miggs, we had Taryn Daly posts online. So that was an unexpected surprise. I really do appreciate the support for local music that we're getting from that radio station, for our group, for other groups in the area. It's cool to see. So there's that. I think we're going to try maybe to do something on Friday as well, although that remains somewhat up in the air because, as I mentioned, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, there's a growing temptation in my heart to drive out to some place and just do some exploring. I have no idea how long I'm going to be out of work, and I don't really have a lot of resources to give me any idea. It's very much up in the air. It's very much open ended, and I don't know anything really, anything solid with respect to how my life is going to take shape in the near future. So, with that in mind, I thought it might be a good idea to just sort of go over some of the solid information that is available about the coronavirus outbreak. And I've got a number of documents printed out from the state health department, and there's figures from the Centers for Disease Control. So I want to kind of just dive in with some raw facts. So let's see. We've got the most up-to-date figures in terms of people who have tested positive for this, and also the mortality of it. So, in the state of Washington, it is It is King County, Snohomish County, and Pierce County, where I live here in Pierce County, which constitute the three counties with the highest level of infection and mortality. So we'll start with where I live in Pierce County. We have a total of 56 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Pierce County. 56. King County's got the worst. One second. Well, Snohomish County is in second place with 310 confirmed cases and 6 mortalities. In Pierce County, there are 0 mortalities as yet. Snohomish County has 310 confirmed cases with 6 mortalities. King County is the county with the most confirmed cases. Currently, as of March 18th, yesterday at 3:25 p.m., King County had 562 confirmed cases and 56 deaths as a result of COVID-19. So the number of cases of people with coronavirus in Pierce County happens to be equal to the number of deaths caused by coronavirus in King County. And again, 562 confirmed cases with 56 deaths in King County. So we're looking at a 10% mortality rate in King County. That's staggeringly higher than what we... I kept hearing this figure, 2%? 2% of people who catch COVID-19 will die from it. And that's somewhat of a reassuring figure. It means, obviously, that 98% of people who catch this get better. But in Pierce County, clearly that's not the case. There are other ways in which this information is broken down. Confirmed cases by age. 2% of confirmed cases fall within the age group of 0 to 19 years of age. 8% is the 20 to 29 range. The 30 to 39 year range is 12%. That's where I am, at least for the next 5.5 months. So the highest is the age range of 50 to 59, coming in at 17%. So statistically, obviously, we've all known that this affects older people more, and that's some specifics, at least within the demographics of Washington State. So as of right now, that's where things are standing. Now, I've been trying to find information about our local government's response to what's going on, and the Washington Health Department has a number of news outlets and news releases, but nothing that's really actionable. I found a list of, I found a list of people whose licenses and medical credentials have been revoked as a result of misconduct. In Pierce County, it says here that somebody by the name of Stephanie Renee Jackson has had her license indefinitely suspended because she didn't complete a required refresher course. Somebody by the name of Beauvais Leandre Strickland was convicted of second-degree burglary, and so his license was suspended for at least 10 years. And then somebody named John Goon visited a park to meet a minor he'd been texting, and he was confronted by an adult male. Goon hit with his car as soon as Goon tried to leave the scene. He was charged with second-degree assault. I don't know what this has to do with COVID-19, but this is some of the information that was released on the Washington State Health's news release. So I guess this is news updates within the health system of the state of Washington and not necessarily directly tied to COVID-19. I'm trying to get a feel by swimming through all this information about what exactly is happening locally. The state of Washington and the state of New York are the two states within the United States that seem to have the strongest concentration of outbreaks of this disease. And it seems that, Washington is where it first started. where it was first reported in the state of Washington, was January about. I think it was January 21st. Yeah. So in 2 days, it will have been 2 months since we started getting outbreaks and confirmed reported cases of this disease here in Washington. And I'm trying to track the progress of the local government in responding to it and see if that might translate to actionable information with respect to when life can return to some semblance of normalcy. And so far, there's really not much to go on. There's been some encouraging things that we've seen in terms of the state and the national government, or the federal government's response in terms of putting a moratorium on evictions locally. Locally, there is some information. Let's see here. Governor Jay Inslee announced substantial measures for Washington state businesses and workers, as well as renters and other residents who may struggle financially to pay utility bills while dealing with the loss of income during the outbreak. This is in addition to the state support for workers and businesses and the state financial, export, insurance, and unemployment assistance that has already been made available. Among the measures announced by the governor is a statewide moratorium on evictions of residential tenants for the next 30 days. I imagine that number could be subject to adjustment if this situation doesn't show substantial improvement relatively soon. As Washington faces the economic impacts of COVID-19, no person should be put out of their home as a result. Residential landlords are prohibited from serving notice of unlawful detainer for default payment of rent. Residential landlords would also be prohibited from issuing a 20-day notice for unlawful detainer unless the landlord attaches an affidavit attesting that the action is believed necessary to ensure the health and safety of the tenant or other individuals. Under these measures, law enforcement may not enforce eviction orders based solely on non-payment of rent. This excludes other circumstances such as the commission of a crime on the premises or nuisance issues. Additionally, residential landlords would be prohibited from initiating judicial action seeking a writ of restitution involving a dwelling unit if the alleged basis for the writ is the failure of the tenant or tenants to timely pay rent. So that, to me, is pretty good news. It means that with nobody, well, not nobody, but with an enormous portion of the population not being allowed to go earn a living, it would just compound things exponentially if then they were faced with homelessness as a result of something that is really no one's fault and that no one can help or could prepare for. So I also understand, and I don't think that the specific figures have really come into focus for this yet, but I understand the federal government is committed to providing some financial relief in the form of checks directly to individual citizens, all of us. And I heard a figure somewhere that the amount of that payment would be a minimum of $1,000. So there's proactive measures being taken. The latest figures I've seen for nationwide is that there's somewhere between, I want to say somewhere in the neighborhood of 7,500 confirmed cases. The mortality nationwide is not a figure that I have at my fingertips, but let me see if I can just pull it up real quick. Okay, here we go. COVID-19, United States at a glance. Total cases, 7,038 cases as of either late yesterday or early this morning. Total deaths, 97. 97. So, as I mentioned a little while ago, it is 2 days, 2 days shy of 2 months since the first confirmed case of COVID-19 here in the state of Washington, where it all began domestically. So, in 2 months' time, we have 97 fatalities and 7,000 confirmed cases. Now, that is every state. You know, I think it was West Virginia, which was the very latest and the final state, the 50th state to report confirmed cases of COVID-19. And that was, I want to say it's within the last 48 hours. If anybody has any more accurate information than that, please put it in the comments or something. But yeah, West Virginia, With the addition of West Virginia, we have all 50 states reporting confirmed cases of COVID-19. So that means that all 50 states plus 4 territories, including District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, Guam, and the U.S. Virgin Islands, all reporting confirmed cases. So this is now affecting all 50 states and several territories. So I don't have the exact figures in front of me, but I recall that exactly 10 years ago, the United States was facing the H1N1 virus. That was also known, I think, as the swine flu. By mid-March of 2010, so precisely 10 years ago, the total number of cases, or rather the total number of fatalities nationwide was 12,000. 12,000 cases and deaths, 12,000 deaths from H1N1 here in the United States alone. As yet, we have not even reached 100. Now, every single one of these viruses has its own unique characteristics, and the characteristic of this one, which makes it so unique, is the contagion aspect of it. It spreads very quickly. And there have been conflicting reports about whether it's more easily transmitted person to person or if it's able to survive on a hard surface for up to 24 hours. That's another figure or fact that I came across recently. So the information about how exactly this is transmitted remains kind of vague and nebulous right now. We don't know exactly how this is most effectively spread, but the measures being taken, with jobs shutting down, with social distancing being enforced, the group of people being brought down from 250 at a maximum to 50 at a maximum, and I've heard rumors that that's been brought even further down to 10 in order to stop the spread of this thing. I haven't been able to locate any solid information with respect to a vaccine. I've heard people say various things. I've heard people saying that it might take as much as a year for a vaccine to come out and to emerge and to be distributed to the public. Most of the action that's being taken is in terms of prevention and testing. So testing kits, new types of testing, such as some kind of an oral swab, which the individual person can administer on themselves, as opposed to having to go to a healthcare professional to have the test administered. I don't know yet exactly where people in my local area can go to get testing kits, but I have heard people say that you really should not... if you don't feel like you're sick, you shouldn't go out and get tested. And the reason for that is that we need to make sure that the testing supplies and kits that are available are put to their most efficient and effective use. So people who are ill or who feel symptomatic in some way that corresponds with the symptoms of COVID-19 are the ones for whom these tests are reserved. So if you're starting to feel ill, then that's the cue to figure out where you can get the supplies that you need and go figure out the details of your health. There's a lot going on. And this is truly an unprecedented occurrence in my lifetime, in the lifetime of all of my friends. No one knows exactly what to make of all this, but we're hanging in there. You know, this is, as I said, this is my my third day of work where there is no work to be had. And I've just been trying to busy myself, which I hope all of you are as well, you know, trying to figure out creative and proactive ways to stay active and to stay productive. The live stream with the band last night was a great example of that. And I understand there's a lot of people doing the same things, trying to maintain some connection with the people who are following your work and your music. And there are a lot of really awesome people out there who truly want to support local musicians and local artists. And I'm beyond grateful for that, not just for the sake of my group, but for the sake of all of us who've experienced. I mean, the fact that we can't go out and perform for people. That's crazy. That's why we do this, is so we can get out and perform for people and connect with people and inspire people and entertain everyone. The fact that we are prohibited from doing that is, I don't think it's something that anybody anticipated. But here we are, right? So I haven't really got much else right now. Let's see. Oh, I guess my friend Leah, who I used to play in a band with, has a birthday today. Happy birthday, Leah. Great saxophone player. All right. Well, I hope everybody is making the most of this, trying to make it as positive for themselves and for their lives as they can. There's always going to be updates. There's always going to be more to say. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I might be back on later today. Most certainly I'll be back on tomorrow morning. But stay safe, everybody. Be good to each other.